Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and in this video, we're going to do a roundup of these. These are entry-level audio streamers. The FIO SR11, the Aerolik S10 Plus, and the Weem Mini. All of these are available between $69 and $99 US. I have reviews of all three of these individually published. See links in the description down below. I thought it would be interesting to do a roundup of these to help those who are either new to the hobby or new to streamers make an informed decision about which of these entry-level devices would be best for their situation and why. And I'm intentionally going to do these and not talk about devices that are Raspberry Pi devices, because these are all fully assembled and programmed, ready to go. You just take them out of the box, power them up, connect them to your network, and you're on your way. You don't have to assemble or program or do anything like that like you often have to do with Raspberry Pi based devices. So that's why we're looking at these. I think they are easy to get into from a usage standpoint. They all sound pretty good. Let's round them up and talk about which one is best for your situation and why right after shameless self-promotion.
Hello. I'm one of the reasons that Wave Theory can't spend all of his money on audio gear. He wants you to know that your support is vital for keeping the channel running. So if you enjoy Wave Theory's bussin' review riz and no-cap review style, and want to encourage him to stay in the basement so I don't have to listen to his dad jokes as much, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also send him a donation on PayPal or sign up for the Patreon. Links are in the description. Now on to the review.
Alright, so we'll do most of this from a quasi-overhead view so that I can show these small little units to you a little bit better. And again, the pricing on these ranges from about $69 to $99 USD. The Weem Mini here can go on sale frequently for about $80 USD, often on Amazon. Alright, see links down in the description for all three of these units for my reviews of them, and then also affiliate links where you can buy them, and I will get a small kickback if you choose to use those affiliate links. But what I'm going to do here is try to round these up and give you some guidance if you are new to streamers and you're just thinking about getting into streaming. Okay, why might each of these be of interest to you? So let's start with the question. Why consider any of these devices, aka why consider an audio streamer in the first place? What is the point of such a device? And there are a couple of ways in which these can be very helpful. As a primary listening device, so at your primary listening station, wherever that may be, these can be a sonic upgrade over a direct USB connection between a computer and a DAC, or a digital analog converter. Particularly if that computer is a big gaming PC type of machine. Those devices can be very noisy. They have a lot of different electrical circuits going every which way inside of them, and so there can be a lot of electromagnetic interference that builds up inside the box of one of those things, and that can bleed out into your audio devices if they are connected via USB. Connecting via Toast-Link optical will help with that noise as well, but optical, particularly from a computer motherboard, is typically limited both in bandwidth, so you can't do high-res files, files beyond 192 kilohertz PCM files, or DSD, or if MQA still applies to you or anything like that, you can't do those. Usually you can't do those from a direct Toast-Link connection from a computer motherboard. You've got to go USB, but then that brings back in the noise. So what these things can do then is they can stream your audio over your network, which electrically decouples your streamer device and your audio chain from your noisy source device like a desktop computer, as just one example. Right, and that can really clean up the sound for a critical listening setup at your main station. Okay, that really does make a sonic difference, a sonic improvement. So that's one reason that you might want to consider a device like this. Another reason is you might have a secondary or tertiary, or you might have multiple audio setups all over your home, and you want to be able to get all of your nice music to it, either whether you stream from Tidal or Qobuz or Amazon or Apple or maybe Spotify or whatever the case may be, or you have a server full of music somewhere in your house with local files stored on it, you might want to get that audio to somewhere else in your house. And let's face it, Bluetooth just doesn't cut it, right? So these devices here are useful for that. Like I keep one of them, this one here, in my kitchen, and I stream music to it, you know, over my network via AirPlay or Spotify Connect or whatever the case may be on the speakers in my kitchen. And so that kind of a setup is what these devices can be geared towards as well. All right, so those are really the two big reasons I think that you would be considering a streamer, is that they are a higher quality, lower noise, better sounding solution for your main listening rig, give you a cleaner, quieter, more resolving kind of sound than most direct USB connections will do, and with the added options of DSD, high sampling rates, MQA if that matters to you, okay, over streaming that you will lose if you choose to go with an SPDIF connection. Okay, and then the other one, of course, is having multiple setups in your house. Like these will comfortably get your high quality audio to a secondary setup, okay, somewhere else in your house. Okay, so that's why streaming. Now, why these three again real quick instead of like a Raspberry Pi with Row PIE 4 on it? Okay, well, these devices are all self-contained, pre-made, pre-programmed, put together. You don't have to assemble anything, program it, or anything like that. You just connect them to your Wi-Fi or your Ethernet if you're able to, and off you go. Okay, so these are a lot easier to use and set up, I think, than some of those, I should say at least easier to set up initially than those Raspberry Pi-based streamers that are out there. So I think that is why these will be of particular interest to some as well. So with that, what I'm going to do next is, now that I have hopefully defended the existence of these and why you might be interested in them, is I'm going to talk about the features of each, kind of give a rundown on what each one has and then how they are different from the others, both in terms of what they have and what they don't have. So what features do all of these have in common? Well, namely, they will stream audio from a source somewhere else in your house to an audio system, whatever audio system that you want to use. They are all compatible with NAS or network audio streaming. Okay, they will all connect via Wi-Fi if you want, though there is one of them that has a little bit lower quality Wi-Fi on it than the others. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay, and then they all are capable of lossless audio to a point. There's an exception on that as well, which we will talk about. Okay, and then again, these are all between $70 and $100, basically. So they are all pretty close to each other in price. Now, here's where the options diverge a little bit. Well, I should also say they all have digital audio outputs so that you can use them as transports, meaning they don't convert a digital signal to an analog signal on their own. Some of them can, one of them can't. We'll get to that in a moment, but they all have digital outputs where you can use them as a transport, which just means you directly route your incoming network audio stream through a digital audio output of some flavor into your DAC. And then another feature that they all have in common is they will all stream via AirPlay. None of them have Chromecast either, unfortunately, but they will all stream via AirPlay from Apple devices like an iPhone or an iPad or a Mac Mini or anything like that nature that will cast via AirPlay. But from there, they diverge a little bit. All right. With that said, let's play a quick game of this one is not like the other. And we will talk about the things that are unique to each unit, both in terms of what they have and what they don't. And we'll just go in alphabetical order here. And so by brand name, so we'll just start with the Ehrlich S10 Plus here. So you go ahead and take center stage here. So this device right here, pros for this one, it's the cheapest unit of this group. It is the one that is $69 US. Okay, it also is the only one of these three that offers Bluetooth connectivity to stream audio over. The Bluetooth doesn't necessarily sound as good. Well, I mean, it doesn't sound as good as the lossless streaming over Wi-Fi or Ethernet, but it is there, and it's another way to connect this device if you need it. Okay. This device here, though it does have Wi-Fi like the other two do, but this one, it does it a little bit differently in that it only supports 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi on there. So the other two will do 5 gigahertz if you need it to. So the range on this one might be a little bit more limited, so you might need to get this closer to a Wi-Fi router or access point because of that. All right, another thing about this one is it will function as a USB DAC. The USB power input right here is also for a USB signal. So if you want to use it as a USB DAC, because it has a DAC in it with a line out, that one right there, then you can do that if you wish, and it's the only one of these 3 units that has that option. Okay. Unique features about this one that are not so great, other than that Wi-Fi being capped at 2.4 gigahertz, as I mentioned a moment ago, is that this will only support CD quality audio output. Okay, so from the digital audio output here, and I believe also the internal DAC, it resamples everything above 44.1 kilohertz PCM files to 44.1 kilohertz, and then we'll convert it from there. So if bit perfect audio output is important to you from the digital output on this one is a no-go on that. And I did observe it to struggle with just handling particularly 192 kilohertz PCM files. It's like the conversion is not particularly clean. There were some skips and misses in higher res streams in there. So this one really is kind of limited to just Redbook 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz audio to be at its best. Okay, so those are the unique features on that one. Okay, alphabetically by brand name, next we have the FiiO SR11. Okay, so for this one, it has, for the positives, working in its favor, it's the only one that has an actual display on it. This one just has some indicator lights. This one just has a light, okay, on it there, but this one will tell you what's connected to it, what the bit rate is, and that sort of thing, and you can even actually navigate the menu from the unit itself rather than having to use an app to control it like you do with these two. There is an app that you can use to control it if you want, but you can control it directly from the user interface, either via its remote control or from this multifunction button and knob right here and reading off the display. Okay, the other thing about this one is, well, there's a couple others. It is the only one that has a USB audio output on it. So it has coaxial audio output. It's got coax, which the other two don't have. Both of the other two have the Toastlink optical. But this one, either of these two USB ports right here can be used as an audio output if you want it. Now, it will not allow you to connect 2 USB DACs to it simultaneously. That's not how it's done. You have to pick between the two, but you do get 2 flavors of USB audio output here. And honestly, if you see my review on this one, the sound from the USB output on this device is much better than from the Toastlink and the coax outputs on this one as well. All right, the other positive unique features about this unit here, the SR11, include that it is the one that will handle the highest sampling rates out of these 3. So you can go all the way up to 32-bit 768 kilohertz PCM files on this one, and at least DSD 256. I can't remember if it does DSD 512 or not, but it does do at least DSD 256 from the USB output on it. Okay, on there. Then this one is also compatible with Roon. You can use it as a Roon endpoint. The other two cannot. Now, I didn't mention earlier that all 3 of these are capable of using the DLNA streaming protocol because there's a bit of an exception to that. The FIO with its stock firmware and from the firmware you can download directly from their website is not DLNA compatible. However, they do offer a beta DLNA firmware for it. If you contact FIO via email, they will send you a link to where you can download the DLNA firmware on this. It is not their preferred method, but it is there as an option if you want it. All right, so some features then that this thing does not have that the other two do is that there is no DAC in this one. It is only a transport. It can only handle digital audio streams in and then either USB or SPDIF digital audio output. Okay, so no DAC on this. No analog input either. Both of these other two have an analog throughput on them where you can put in an analog audio signal through an auxiliary input. No such option on this one. This unit here is also not as directly compatible with the streaming services like Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon, Apple, Spotify. Okay, there is no like real direct connection to those. You can stream all of those if you connect this via AirPlay to some level of lossless streaming. Okay, if you use it as a Roon point, you can get Tidal and Qobuz through this that way. Okay, if you use the DLNA beta firmware, you can get to some others depending on what other software you have on there. But these other two units use apps that are based on the 4Stream app in there, which can connect to Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon, etc., and play these that way. This does not have that option. It should, but it doesn't. Okay, so that is something you should keep in mind in there. Also, this one does not have any equalizer on it. That 4Stream app that I just mentioned, or Weems app, their proprietary app that you can use for the Mini here, that has some built-in equalization ability on them. No such thing on this app or on this device that I have found. This is really just a transport, okay, option right here. Okay, but really like the biggest selling point to me on this one is like it is just a streamer. It doesn't worry about a DAC or anything like that. So its sole existence, I mean, there's no analog anything in this one. Its sole existence is to handle digital coming in from a stream over the network and then digital audio output. So it's kind of one of those do one thing and do it well kind of devices that these two are not, which I think for some folks is going to be a selling point. And then also the Roon compatibility I think is really important on this one too, because in particular, if you connect this to a higher quality linear power supply, you can still get the price of this plus a nice power supply to be less than something like an iFi Zen streamer, which is kind of a software disaster anymore, and then use this as a Roon endpoint and get a pretty high quality entry-level Roon streamer going on here, which I think will apply to a certain audience, be of interest to a certain audience as well. Okay. The Weem Mini. What is unique about it? Okay, no Ethernet on this one. No LAN, nothing like that. It is only a Wi-Fi device here. It will handle bit-perfect audio, but it will only do so up to PCM files that are 24-bit 192 kilohertz and DSD64 via DSD via DOP, DSD via SPDIF, or PCM I should say, from its optical output on there as well. Okay. This one will also do Alexa and Siri integration, and that is not spoken of in the product lit for either of the other two units, so that could be handy to some as well. This one does not do Ethernet, so that's one way that it is unique in terms of a lacking thing there, but that's about it, I think. Oh, no remote control. That's the obvious one sitting right in front of me. These two units have their own remote controls. This one does not. It is only controlled through an app. Okay. Let me put these back in the alphabetical order that I had them, and then let me talk about what it's like to actually use these and listen to these a little bit, and then like give my recommendations. All right. As far as just pure sound quality goes, I think the FiiO is the cleanest, clearest, most resolving, most holographic, overall best sounding and most natural sounding unit on this table, followed by the Weem and then the Ehrlich here. Okay, so it's not a huge gap, but to me this one is just the best sounding device, and so I have used this as a Roon endpoint on my desktop system as like my mid-fi streamer reference at this point. I know it's entry level, but I have it connected to a small green computer linear power supply, which with that power supply plus this unit is still under $300 total. Okay, which again makes it one of the cheapest Roon endpoints out there that is just a transport and doesn't have a DAC in it or anything like that, and it really excels in that role. It's like just connected to the mid-fi DACs that I'm using for review work and testing mid-fi level gear on my desk, and so that's how I've been using it, and I think it's really good for that role. The Weem Mini also sounds really good though. Nice, clean, quiet, clear, smooth, like surprisingly refined for a device that is often on sale for $80 here. And it does the bit perfect up to PCM 24.192 and DSD 64 via DOP. Okay, which is very handy and all that. Its app, the Weem Mini app, is very easy to use, or the 4Stream app. It's compatible with those two. I'm not exactly sure how it works. It's either the Weem app is built on the 4Stream app, or both the 4Stream and Weem apps are built on some third-party, common third-party platform, because they are very similar to each other. See my reviews of these two units for more thoughts on that. Okay, but it's a very easy to use app, I find, and it sounds pretty good. I think for someone who is not a Roon user and is looking to get into streaming, just because of the number of protocols that this one is compatible with and the stability of its Wi-Fi connection and all of that, I would start here with the Weem Mini, honestly. If you're a Roon user and looking to get into Roon cheaper, it's definitely the FiiO. But for everyone else, I think I would start here. Okay. The Ehrlich here, it sounds decent. Like, I don't want anyone to think that I think that it sounds bad, but the lack of bit-perfect audio output, I think, does put a ceiling on its ultimate sound quality level right there. I mean, because it caps everything at 1644.1, and it has to resample everything to that rate if what's coming in is not already that rate. And then even if it is, it's probably doing some kind of internal processing, particularly if you have EQ on or anything like that. Because even over here, if you put EQ on it, like you're gonna be not bit perfect anymore in your audio quality. But this device here has found a home in my home, in the kitchen, as I said, like on the speaker setup up there, and that's like everyone in my household. Okay, the significant other, our two kids, they can connect to this, okay, if they want to, via AirPlay, or like we have a Spotify family plan, so they can Spotify connect to this, listen to podcasts a lot or whatever. It's like they can connect right to that, and of course so can I. And then we just background listening while we are cooking or cleaning or in the kitchen or the living room area and all of that. Like that's what this is really strong for. And so if that's what you're looking for, particularly if everyone in your household is going to be using it and they are not particularly snobby about audio, because let's face it, most normal people aren't, okay, then I think this is the way to go, just in terms of ease of use, ease of connect to all of the protocols it supports. And then of course, if none of the streaming protocols work, it's got Bluetooth in it too, where these two don't. Okay, so there it is. Like, I can recommend any of the three of these for different reasons. General household use, audiophiles for streamer. If you're just getting into Roon and you don't want to break the bank, get an LPS with this thing, and it is really good, okay, as a Roon endpoint, okay, on that one there. And it's fine if you want to use it as an AirPlay endpoint in a second system there. Like, it's fine there. It just won't be truly bit perfect in that way either. But those are my thoughts on these. So again, like as I just said, I can recommend all three of these in that way. I mean, best sounding overall, still excellent sounding, but more friendly for new audiophiles. Still sounds good, but just really connection friendly. choose the one that fits your use case the best on there, and I hope this video has helped you make an informed decision. So, I am Wave Theory. This has been my roundup of non-Raspberry Pi, pre-made, ready to go out of the box. Just connect it to your network. Okay, entry-level streamers between $69 and $99 US. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. If you have not already, check out my PayPal and my Patreon, and generally do those things you do to support YouTube channels. And as always, enjoy the music.